All right. We are live. Xfinity Mobile Arena in South Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And here's the thing. If you're looking for the push column performance, you're in the wrong place because this is the press row show. Anthony SanFilippo with me, Jackie Spiegel, Russ getting ready for his trip to Europe. Intern Andrew filling in for him. And Flyers playing host to the red-hot Tampa Bay Lightning, who not only are coming off of extra days rest, but they're also riding an 8-game win streak. But don't worry, because the Flyers have oops. But on the defense minute, they have Jamie Rizzo, oops. But the heart and soul of the team, Travis Konecny, oops. Flyers missing 3 key players tonight. And the goaltending matchup, you ask, well, for the Lightning, it is 2-time Stanley Cup winner, a Conn Smythe winner, Vezina winner, Andrei Vasilevsky, and the Flyers send out Sam Ersson. Strap in, folks. This is going to be a fun one.
Wait, can I just say?
Yeah.
That might have been better than Russ.
It's absolutely was better than Russ. It's so much better. Holy smoke. Amadeo, video guy Amadeo, I want you to just clip the open and just play the open. That's it. We don't need any more commentary. Just Andrew's open. That's it.
Do we even do a pregame?
No, that's you got to look. You make great points, Andrew. This is going to be a tough matchup for the Flyers tonight, facing a really good Tampa team, and the Flyers are very shorthanded. Jackie,
Yes.
Obviously, you're missing Brink, and you're missing Drysdale, and you're missing Konecny. A lot of changes to the lineup because of that. First of all, I guess I'll ask you, since you were at the morning skate today. I assume you were, right? You were at the morning skate today.
Always.
Any updates on those 3 characters? I know Drysdale's on IR, so it's a week,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Minimum. But the other 2 guys.
Not much. You know, he said that he had seen Bobby and Jamie Drysdale were both out for morning skate. They were in. We're assuming green is the new no touchy color, but
Okay.
We never know what it's going to be. It was a standout color when everyone else was wearing black and orange, so
Yeah.
We'll go with that. But not much of an update. He said that Travis felt a little bit better, but he wasn't good enough to play. And it's a little telling with Konecny, because I feel like, you and I both know he plays through a lot.
Yes, he does.
So something must have really been bugging him that he can't go, because we both know he has played through a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
In the last, I've been here. This is my 3rd season, so in the time that I've been here, I've seen him play through a lot.
Yeah. So that's a tough one. The one positive for fans,
Yes.
coming out of this is they're finally, in a regular season game, going to get their wish of Matvei Mishkov playing with Trevor Zegras on the top line tonight.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to see how that looks in a game against a pretty good team.
I did talk to Trevor this morning. He said, nothing's really going to change necessarily, but he obviously likes the creativity and, not that, TK is very straight line, I think, in a lot of ways, and, Matvei is a little bit more creative. There's a lot more being on your toes, probably, as I've asked a lot of guys who play with him over the last year and a half. It's a lot of, okay, you have to be aware where he is and what he's doing at every moment, because he's so creative out there. But, yeah, it'll be I like to think defensively, they both have gotten better since the start of the year. They both have learned more about Rick Tockett's systems, which are a little easier to deal with when you're in the defensive zone. It'll be interesting. Christian Dvorak's going to be a lot of weight on his shoulders to play defense on that line.
Yes, he is. By the way, Russ did check in.
Oh.
And said not surprised the lady from Rochester would have negative things to say about
it was the great open. That's, that's why it was great.
Another great thing, another great part of the Open, and this is something that I wanted to bring up, I wanted to talk about, and Andrew pointed it out already, Sam Ersson in net tonight. Now, I know that Dan Vladar has played the last 3 games, right? But I'm going to take you back to earlier in the week when I asked Rick Tocchet, and you were sitting there, and I asked him about potentially playing Vladar more in the second half.
Yes.
And the first thing he said was, I could push him to 4 games in a row if the schedule works out. So in other words, having the time off. So it's not like back-to-backs or 3 and 4 or things like that, right? So if the schedule works out, he mentioned, he says, I could play him 4 in a row. I thought that with all these guys out of the lineup, that this would be the time you would say, let's try it here. because you almost look at this and say, we might need a goalie to steal game for us tonight. Why not have it be the fourth in a row and give Sam the game Monday against the same team when you might have guys back like Bobby Brink or Travis Konecny who could potentially be back in your lineup on Monday?
I don't know.
Right?
I wish I had an answer.
Right?
I really don't.
So that was...
It's a little perplexing.
Yeah.
Should Sam Ersson have a game? Yeah. I mean, look, they're gonna play 4 in 6 nights coming up starting on Monday.
Right.
I have to drive from Buffalo to Pittsburgh.
You gotta make the drive? There's no flight?
There's no flight or bus.
Get out.
I know. So pray for me.
No.
No, I mean, I went to school upstate, so
I
I'm
know
very
it's
used to,
still a 3.5 hour drive, right?
Yeah. But you figure one of those, he's not going to start. You know, everyone's like, well, why can't you start Vladar in those back? He's not. They're going to face shots.
Right.
He's going to get the workload. He's not. Those are. You know how we talked? What was it like? The end of the 23-24 season, we talked about the gauntlet.
Yes.
This is a gauntlet.
It is.
Between now and the All-Star break.
Right.
Sorry, not the All-Star break. The Olympic break.
Olympic break.
This is a gauntlet. They're playing the Lightning, who have won 8 straight. They're playing the Sabres, who have won 12 of 13. They're playing the Penguins, I think, who have won 6 in a row. Now, granted, they could lose between now and then, but playing the Penguins, who have won 6 in a row. Then they're playing. I think the Rangers.
They got the Rangers. Did you watch that game today?
No, I took a nap.
They are so unbelievably screwed without Shesterkin.
I know.
Yeah. The Bruins put up a 9 spot. Pasternak had 6 assists today.
That's the Rangers since Lundqvist was in net, that they relied so heavily on him to win games, and now it's just a continuation of that. So
here's the thing. So and you point this out.
Then Colorado, Vegas.
Yeah. But so you point this out, and it's smart of you to point it out because they do have to play back-to-backs next week, and so you figure Ersson has to play one of them.
Yes.
The only way that it makes sense to go Ersson tonight, and this is the only way it makes sense, is to sit there and say, well, he's going to play the Buffalo game.
Right?
The first one.
Yeah,
and so because you don't want Ersson playing back-to-back games. Right? So you don't want him to play Monday and then Wednesday. So you sit there and go, okay, well, we're going to play Ersson against Buffalo. And to be fair, Sam has, for the most part, played well against the Sabres. Last start aside. Last start aside. For the most part, he's played well against Buffalo. I guess you're looking at it, but I look at it and say, to me, that way that Buffalo team's playing, I'd rather have Vladar in that game and have Ersson against the Penguins. Personally. But they seem to be going the other way. This is their choice.
I mean, Tim Zillow was actually I know a lot of people give him a lot of grief with how things went last year, but I don't, it hasn't been a topic, so I don't know how much Tocchet relies on him. I would think he does a lot. Usually coaches, Torts relied on him for everything.
Right.
But most coaches do rely pretty heavily when it comes to the goalies because they're such a. I think it was Vladar who mentioned like an island, like the 3 of them on an island together, kind of thing. So it was a question that wasn't asked. Maybe it should have been, but I think we just all were like, oh, okay, he started.
He
has to get starts. Like he can't sit.
I agree. I understand the backup goalie's got to play, and I've been writing this. He's got to play somewhere between 15 and 18 games the rest of the year.
Yeah.
The backup, whoever the backup goalie is, if it's right now it's Sam Ersson, if it's somebody else down the line, it's somebody else down the line. Regardless, even if you're leaning on Vladar a little bit, you still have to play the backup about 15 to 18 times the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So he's got to play. It's just a matter of when you feel it's the best time, and I think that they think it's better tonight. I just look at it and say, if you're going to split these 2 games, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, for all we know, they could have had this mapped out, and then all of a sudden Tuesday happened.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, I went out to dinner with one of my best friends last night, and she's like, "Do you think the Flyers make the playoffs?" And I said, if you had asked me before Tuesday's game, I would have said yes. Now we don't know some of the status of some of these guys. I think it could make it a little tougher. Especially because of this
who they're
stretch.
playing, right, in this stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I still think they are a playoff team, but it's not as easy now when you lose your, Konecny's led the team in scoring the last 6 years.
I'm saying
that too.
Yeah, he's been more than a point per game since the beginning of December.
He's actually had a very good year.
I guess 21 points in his last 19 games.
He's not getting maybe goals, but he's getting points. And yeah, he does thing sometimes. But
Yeah.
So I starred this comment. I thought it was actually a good point. ECW and WF. Most of the NHL is going to be getting a lot of time off in February. Vladar's not, because he's going to be playing in the Olympics. So I guess maybe the thought is rest him as much as you can. But the thing is, so like between him, Dostal, and Vamelka, like who do you think is going to be the number one for checking?
How do you not? I look at the stats. It has to be Vladar.
So then he's going to probably be playing the majority of the game,
right? Yeah. And Jackie asked Talk this question, right? Didn't you the morning skate on Tuesday? You said with the Olympics coming, right?
With balancing it all, like how do you handle all this?
Right.
Because he's going to be playing a lot of games, and I don't know if I remember exactly what Talk is. My memory is
and he basically said he basically kind of gave you a non-answer, other than to say, that's part of the thinking. Like they got to think about that. Yeah, they got to take that into consideration, right? Like he didn't give you much else beyond that, but you did ask that question.
I did, because I think this is the dilemma with Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Like, the NHL's a billions of dollar industry, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all works with a smaller ice surface, because we all remember John Tavares last time the NHL went to the Olympics. He got very hurt. And also, goalies are so like this was the biggest thing with Kolosov, right? Like coming over, the sight lines are so different when you play NHL versus the big rinks in KHL.
Yep.
Now you're playing a rink that's even smaller.
Yeah.
Where they've tested the ice twice, and once they already brought out like a watering can to fix the ice.
Because there was a hole in the ice.
So
it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be really interesting. Hey, another thing I wanted to ask you about, Jackie, is something you wrote about a couple days ago. It doesn't seem to matter who's coaching this power play. We used to call it the Rocky Thompson Horror Show.
Russ did.
Well, yeah. Well, but we, as in the Snow the Goalie family. I mean, we. But it doesn't matter who's coaching it now, because it's just as bad this year as it was a year ago.
Yeah.
I know Talk was kind of agitated after the Toronto game, saying that they had some chances and they misreads, right, and things like that.
Yeah.
I look at it slightly differently, and you tell me what you think. I think that this is less about the guys on the wall or the guys behind the net, or where they're going to try and make passes, and it's more about the fact that they don't have a real power play quarterback at the point.
Do you think?
I'm asking you. You coached the game.
Yeah, I think power plays have changed a lot. I think everyone uses the
half wall.
The half wall. I think I wouldn't be against the power play. Look, I think it is run out of Zegras, out of that right.
Yeah.
Point, the right flank. I think I don't have a problem with that. I think you need someone. I think it's interesting. I've had a couple of conversations with different players, and I did ask Taka today. So I did kind of look. So basically, my story yesterday was I basically went through the entire third period power play, where they had 3 and change, I think it was, of power play time, including 2-man advantage for a full 2 minutes. There was a couple of things. Yeah, they kept it to the perimeter a little bit. Taka did mention, though, that he didn't think the team kind of went after the guy without the stick during. But in all honesty, Michkov makes that play. We're cutting right through the middle.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the best plays of the whole thing. I talked to Tippett about his play down the wall on the wraparound. He just missed on that wraparound, which he's done a few times. But he said, he's like, I saw that guy was kind of alone. I mentioned it to Trevor. We tried it another, and that it worked, but they almost scored. Although there's a part of me that thinks that puck didn't go in. And why do I say that?
I know it went in,
because Dennis Hildeby, if you watch how he comes out of the net,
do you know where the puck was?
Under his arm, that was in the net.
No, you know where I thought it was?
What?
Because if you watch the replay a second time, and I don't remember who the defenseman was for Toronto who did it, but the puck was, I thought, in his waffle hand, because he had dropped his stick, and his waffle hand is in the net.
You mean the blocker?
The blocker. Yeah, the waffle. We called it the waffle growing up.
I have to admit, I had never heard of that before you said it the other day. I always said blocker hand and glove hand.
It used to be called the waffle because it looked like a waffle. Remember the old days? It would look like a waffle. It had holes. I know there are people who are in the chat who will confirm this for me.
I'm not saying
that
I
All
don't.
right,
I
it was called the
believe
waffle.
you. I
we
just never
always
heard it.
we called it the waffle pad.
Maybe I'm too young.
Yes,
for
it's
this.
the blocker. You might be a little bit too young. Anyway, so
Always the waffle.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian Knowlton. But the defenseman, whoever it was reaching in to pull something out of that hand in the net, and I
Well,
go,
he was like if this was the line, which I think people can see.
Yeah,
if this was the line, and this side is the regular ice, and this side's in the crease, in the goal net. He was like here, and then if you see, he like slides slightly out, and I was just like, dude, that puck was under his arm in the net.
Yeah, I think so too, and listen,
and Severs was, I mean, you can fake being like that was a goal, but that was like his reaction was legit.
He was saying 100%. You could read his lips.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is that they didn't confirm the call on the ice. It just stood because they didn't have good enough
conclusive evidence,
conclusive replay, right, to overturn it. But
so what I noticed was maybe a little too much wall, but I thought the one thing that stood out to me watching that 3+ minutes of power play time in the third period, Sean Couturier. And everyone, people want to criticize Sean. Sean Couturier is 6'4", and I don't think I can say he put his right in front of the net.
You can say butt. You can say he put his butt. He's got a butt, right?
He put his body right in front of Dennis Hildeby, who I don't know how tall he is, but it was a masterclass in how to screen.
Yes.
And then he's not on the power play today. So I'm like, so I asked Talkit, you talk about you want guys in front of the net. You talk about how you want that net front presence. I don't care if he's maybe not going to score. He's screening the guy for those, and they just missed on a Cam York shot, if you remember.
Yeah.
Why is he not on the power play all of a sudden? And his answer was, well, he's played a lot of ice time, and so maybe now they're starting to watch his minutes.
Well, and I get that, and they should, because I think
he does penalty kill too. Now it's Konechny out,
right? And there was a time where I thought that his minutes were getting a little up there because he was playing all situations, right? And so I was wondering, look, can you pull him back a little bit? If you pull him back to that 16-minute mark as opposed to 20, I think you get a better Sean Couturier. So and I guess that they
he's
thought
doing what you want.
I know.
And in all honesty, how much energy are you using
not as
standing in front of the net?
Not as much. So maybe he shouldn't kill penties then, or maybe maybe other guys should be better at faceoff, so he's not on every key faceoff in the third. At overtime.
It just. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of made me think you have so many issues with the power play. This guy's doing what you want.
I know. Hey, by the way, there's been a lot of people that have been talking about Alex Bump because he's not in the Phantoms lineup tonight. I guess there's a lot of people who thought, with the injuries, might he be getting called up? I checked right before the game with a team source who told me that he's injured and he's out of the lineup for 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
1 to 2. Now, granted, they only play on the weekends, so it's not like he's missing a ton of time.
This weekend, they're in New England,
right?
Yeah.
And so he could be back next weekend, and you only miss a game or two, right? So it's different than being up here where you would say day to day.
Yeah, I mean that's what usually the Flyers say.
Right, where they would say day to day, but down there, say because they only play on the weekends, it's 1 to 2. So that's the story on that. So no, Alex Bump is not getting called up to fill in for one one injured guys.
Can we? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Is it Yinning that they called up?
Yes.
Yinning, yeah, he's the extra.
He's not going to play. I don't think. Juleson, I think, actually looks pretty. So I will say this. I actually kind of relates to what I kind of wanted to bring up today.
Oh, whatever you. Oh,
yeah,
look!
please,
Look at our guest is bringing topics to the show. Andrew, go ahead.
I'm trying to be a participant.
I like it.
But real quick about that, I think the defense is actually strong. I do think the 6-man unit, the 7-man unit, let's say when Drysdale's healthy, is very strong. They're playing really well. You have Juleson, who, and I think has been playing solid. I'm not saying he's going to be this superstar.
He's exactly what you want out of a number 7.
And he knows who he is.
Yes.
And I will say, and he's very comfortable with his role being that 7th defenseman. Talkett's obviously incredible. Yeah, how many times do I ask him about Juleson? And it's like, well, I had him in Vancouver. Really, Rick? I had no idea.
Thanks.
But I think, the thing about it is that, so this is the part I wanted to bring up, is that I wrote a story. It was a story about like how Drysdale is out.
Right.
And I said he's been having a breakout year. And the comments section under the story is like, I question her credibility. You know, it's like he only has 18 points or whatever it is in 41 games. Literally, when I said he had a breakout year, the next sentence is talking about his defense.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Jamie Drysdale is actually a defenseman. Not a guy who's supposed to, I mean, it's nice that he gets points, but your first job is to stop the other team from scoring.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. I did a Dean's List kind of thing with, and we talked about this on the last show, but I just wanted to say what I wrote about Jamie Drysdale. I said, because he was the closest to making the Dean's List.
Did you have this up ready to go?
I did. How about that, right? I said his improvement at 5-on-5 has been one of the most pleasant surprises for the Flyers. There was a time last year where there was a thought he might never figure it out, and then seemingly overnight he became a very consistent and responsible defensive player. I said, believe me when I tell you that the Flyers are thrilled with this. He has had the biggest season-over-season improvement over anyone who was on the team a season ago. The only thing that has held him back from being with my top list of Dean's List guys was that he has struggled on the point in the power play. He seemed like that should be a natural fit there. It just hasn't worked out to this point. I'm sure he'll get another crack at it. And if he breaks through there, then he turns this home run season into a grand slam.
Yes. Oop. Yes.
Anthony always bringing baseball into it.
Always have to have some kind of hockey and baseball reference.
I mean, I put music in my stories a lot. So people like music. And if you could find, actually, I kind of almost want to do like a thing. Like if you can find like, what do you call it? The Easter eggs? Like that you could find the music.
Yeah.
Like I always want to give like keep track and like give a prize out at the end. Because like I put so much like little, like I did it the other day when I wrote about like Scott Lawton coming back because you know he's a big Tragically Hip. I'm a big Tragically Hip fan.
Yep.
Like put a little blow at high, which I will say I thought it was very classy of them to play blow at high dough when Lawton was
They did a nice job
acknowledging the crowd.
They did a nice job with that.
But yeah, no, I think like that's the thing, like. Yeah, he only has 18 points in 41 games, but Jamie Drysdale has figured out how to play defense.
Yeah.
And that's, like, his job is to play defense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. This defense has been very, very good at 5-on-5.
Yes.
And they've been solid on the penalty kill.
They didn't give up 5-on-5 goal against the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, no, really, really good at 5-on-5.
One goal against the Ducks.
Yeah.
So, like, to say like it's not a breakout, that's really wrong. Like in my opinion, it is a breakout year because he's finally and I will say I talked to him Monday.
I watched you talking to him.
And he is so proud of himself.
Yeah.
Like and he should be proud of himself.
Yes.
That he's like it's coming more naturally. Which like yeah, dude. Like that's why I'm like, oh no, he got hurt. Like he never like I feel bad for this kid. Like every year there's an injury for him.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
For sure. All right, Jackie, we only have you for like 2 minutes here.
All right.
Real fast, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Lending credence to your opinion on the Flyers' defensive unit just as a whole, I went and looked just a second ago.
Yeah.
They're third in the entire league in shots allowed per game.
It's insane.
Yeah. They're doing well.
Considering what we've seen.
Yeah, and they haven't been blocking a ton.
Yes. And I've also talked to Cam York the other day, and we talked about his defense, and he's like, well, you know, we used to give up a lot of shots and a lot of offense, and it really helped me work on my game.
Yeah, there you go.
And he said that before, so it wasn't like it was like earth-shattering news, but yeah.
All right, tough game tonight. If I had to ask you to pick a side, what are you going with tonight?
Me?
Yes, we always do this.
Oh man, I think it's Lightning.
I think you're right.
They've also on heater.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting. I find like the little, you know, John Cooper, Rick Tocchet, battle, like line combinations and matchups. You know, it's like the teacher and the master.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think it's going to be Tampa, and I see a couple 6-1s, 5-2.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I really don't, because of this very reason. Because they have the best record in the NHL coming off of a loss.
They do.
And they usually
like 14-1 and something.
I think it's 13-1-5, right? That's I think is what it is. They usually play tight games. So even the 6 games that they've lost, 1 in regulation was a 2-1 final.
Right.
And the 5 in overtime and shootout are always 1-goal games because they have to be.
So maybe in overtime? Or?
Well, I don't know if it's overtime, but I think this is a 1-goal game late in the third period.
I saw a 4-3.
4-3 is what I picked.
Maybe 3-2?
It could be.
Can they get 3 goals?
It could be 3-2. Well, it's Urson, so that's why I went 4-3.
Well, I was thinking, can the Flyers get 3?
Oh, well,
without connecting?
Maybe. Depends on how they're playing.
All right, I'll go 3-2.
All right, 3-2 Lightning is what you go.
Are you still doing your Instagram thing?
My Instagram thing?
Can you go around and document where you were for the day? Or something
I
like that?
have. I have done that.
So are we going to be on it?
Not today.
What?
I don't have my cameraman today.
Is it because of me?
No, what? No. If I had known that you were like, no, I would have done even more, Andrew.
All
no,
right, well.
I'm like,
Well, good luck. Good luck to your Buffalo Bills tomorrow. I know you're from Buffalo. Big game against the Jaguars.
no, I love all the green in the city, but because of the Jets.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing it for. Jackie Spiegel, check her out at the Philadelphia Inquirer, who does a great job covering this team on a daily
Appreciate it,
basis.
man. Thank
You're
you.
the best. Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much. Oh man. All right, Andrew. We might as well get the picks out there. I know Russ. So because of Russ traveling, we now have to put these picks out like really early. Because you remember he's going to be 6 hours ahead of us for the next.
Well, I
however long.
always text him in the morning anyway.
I know you do, which is weird that you do that.
Well, because I A, don't make sure I don't want to forget, and B, I just wake up.
You don't want to wait for news to see if somebody's hurt.
It's
or
always a
somebody's
vibe thing with me.
Vibe? Okay. All right.
Yes.
I usually wait to see, what the news of the day is for the teams.
Barring something like drastic happening, usually
Yes.
an injury here, an injury there doesn't really sway my opinion.
Yeah.
we still have 8.5 minutes. So there's one other question that I have.
All
for
right.
you.
Well, go ahead. You wanted to ask?
We have a little bit of time to kill here. So Michigan State played against Ohio State last night. Porter Martone back in college hockey after juniors. 2 goals and 2 assists. He's been killing it, obviously. Are we now obviously as a Penn State fan, I was already there in the root against Michigan State territory.
Yeah.
Now is it like? I think basically it's a done deal. We have to root against Michigan State to be out as early as possible. He's got to come here in April, right? Are there still any lingering question marks with him?
Porter
being NHL
Martone,
ready?
I will tell you, and I will be stunned if this isn't the case. And I guess injury would be the, obviously is the one caveat I'll put on the statement. But I would be stunned if he's not on the Flyers within a week of, and maybe even less, like within days of Michigan State season being over. Within days.
Yeah.
Especially if the Flyers are in like a nip-tuck race for the playoffs.
So what line do you think he goes to then? Second?
Again, it depends on health with everybody, but probably. Well, look, you don't usually throw a rookie right onto the second line or first line. Like, you usually make them start a little slower. So it wouldn't surprise me if you kind of replaced Forster on that third line with Cates and Brink.
Okay.
Like, I could see that possibility. But again, it depends on who's healthy and who's not at that point.
Right.
Yeah, but he's
Plays away.
He's going to be here. He's going to be here. Yes, it would be the most ideal situation for Flyers fans would be Michigan State getting upset in their first round. That would be the most ideal situation. It would get you probably 2.5 weeks of Porter Martone.
And then he'd be eligible for the playoffs, right?
He's eligible no matter what.
Right.
You don't have to play.
Okay.
Yeah, they could make him play. You can make your debut in the playoffs if you want.
Yeah. I think McAvoy did that. I remember.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's almost a guarantee.
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
So, people always give me guff for being a Penn State fan. Now, if Penn State plays against Michigan State, all of Philadelphia is going to be with me. They need Michigan State out of the tournament.
I guess.
Penn State shutout win last night in Montevideo. It's amazing when Aiden Fink and Gavin McKenna are reunited, they actually look like a real hockey team again.
Yeah.
So that's good. All right, we can do predictions now if you want.
Yeah, so yet again, all 4 of us picked the same team.
I'll be really surprised if the Flyers win.
I will too. And that would be a great win if they win tonight. It would really be a great win if they can find a way to win this
I
game.
give them a fighting chance tomorrow.
Monday.
Monday. A, with Vladar back in net under that assumption, and then B, possibly getting some of these day guys back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Plus, I think in the NHL, it's hard to beat the same team 2 times in a row. So,
and you're going to get.
I'm chalking this up as a loss. I think I'm probably going to pick the Flyers to win tomorrow, or again Monday.
I probably will too. But again, it depends on what their health situation. Like if they get absolutely boat raced tonight, and then I'm sitting there and go, well, I don't know. Like, it might be a better game, but geez, even with those guys back, the way Tampa's playing, it might not make a difference. So yeah, you have them winning 5-2.
I had the biggest blowout.
Yeah, you have 5-2 Lightning. I thought about going 5-3 until I convinced myself that they keep every game after a loss close. So I went 4-3 Lightning is what I went.
Russ went 4-2 Lightning.
And he made that pick before he knew Ersson was in net. Otherwise, he would have gone 6, he said.
That's right. He did text that.
Yeah, he said, I would have gone 6 otherwise. And Bundy thinks it's going to be a low-scoring game. He went with the same score Jackie went with. 3-2. 3-2 Lightning.
Seeing what I've seen from Ersson this year, I have a hard time believing that he's going to be able to keep the puck out of that. With this Tampa, I know Hedman's out for a while, but even still.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is, and it's kind of what Jackie was talking about, is how they've been limiting chances at 5-on-5.
The Flyers have.
Yeah, so that, and you pointed out, third fewest shots against the season. So like maybe you play a defensive-minded game and, try to win your matchups, because you're on home ice and you keep the score low and hope that you could just take advantage of a couple of opportunities. That could very well be Rick Tockett's game plan going into this game.
Okay, there's that, but then the old Mike Tyson quote: "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face."
Yeah,
the Lightning are up 2-0 in the first period. Then you can't just play defensive.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right, we got Bundy back here.
Yeah. All right, and so here comes Bundy, and so of course we're going to have Bundy come in. He'll tell us his pick, which we know what I just announced what it was, but we'll also have him give his keys to the game as soon as he's ready to roll here.
But he's got to make the headphones bigger.
Yeah, I know. He's got to make the headphones bigger because Jackie's got small
What's
head.
up, Bundy?
I had to put my big noggin on here with Jackie had her head on there, so I had to.
Bundy, what are the 3 keys to this game?
Let me pull them up again here. All right, number.
Hold on a second. We got special guest Jason Martinez joining. You're not going to be on camera.
I heard Russ wasn't here, so I came in to give a couple hot takes.
Oh. All right, go ahead.
I don't have any. I just figured this would be a good time for me to pop by with Russ not here.
You're not on camera, but it is the great Jason Martinez.
Yeah. Where's the camera? Where's the camera?
Yeah.
There he is. There he is. There's my bald head.
Yes.
I was just hanging out with Bundy, and I heard Russ is out. What's the matter with him?
He's in Europe.
He's going to Europe tomorrow.
Yeah, for like 2.5 weeks.
See, that's a lack of commitment to the season.
Yeah, it is.
That's right.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
That's a lack of commitment.
A lack of commitment.
Doesn't it? Bundy, your wife knows this. Anthony, your wife knows this. I don't know if yours does.
I'm not married.
Okay, well, you're up on all of us. But they know not to book trips out of the country unless it's Canada during the hockey season.
Yes. And not only that, Russ's wife, not happy about him being gone with 4 kids at home.
Well, I don't blame him. I don't blame her for that. Yeah, she's probably been cursing his name quite a bit lately.
Quite a bit, Jay.
Boys, enjoy the game. I just wanted to stop by
Jay.
and say hello.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Jason.
All right.
Of course, I do pregame with Jason.
Yes.
So I with the 97.5 and then the Flyers stream. So we just came off, and I'm glad I don't have to read the keys to him again because I just played them on Flyers radio.
There you go.
Keys to the game tonight. Number 1, play on emotion at home. Another big crowd is expected here tonight. The home barn will be rocking out from the outset on. The banged-up Flyers team needs to feed off the adrenaline in similar fashion to Tuesday's emotional win over Anaheim. Number 2, be ready for a hot team with team structure and discipline during Tampa's 8-game winning streak. The Lightning have been firing on all cylinders. 4.75 goals per game, 2.75 goals against average. The power play is 30.8%. Kucherov has an 8-game point streak with multi-point performances in each of the last 7 games. Trying to shut down Kucherov will be vital to win this hockey game tonight. And lastly, number 3, getting to Vasilevsky. Getting screens, deflections, and scrambles at the front of the net is imperative. The big goalie rarely beats himself, as the Flyers can attest to over the years. The Flyers need to get inside and force the netminder to contend with traffic in his line of vision.
Yeah, and we were talking about that a little bit pregame about the one thing that Coots has been doing well is like he's been getting to the front of the net.
Here's one for you, Ant.
Yeah.
We were talking before. Who do you think the Flyers are going to match up tonight? Not defensively, offensively against Kucherov's line.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put the top line against them.
You think they're going to put Zegras and Mishkov against them?
Well, Dvorak will be. I think it's more about the defensive pair, and they're going to try. And they're going to try and make them play some defense, and that's what they're. I think that they might do that.
Let's see what happens.
We'll see.
I'm thinking they may run with Cates, Grabenkin, and Grunstrom against them.
Could
to kind of muck it up a little bit.
Could
yeah,
they could.
Maybe Couturier line a little bit, but he's got Barkey and Tippett on his line.
Yeah, so. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a lot of Sanheim and York against those guys.
They're going to have to be at their best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bundy, you picked 3-2 Lightning.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So all 4 of us picked the Lightning tonight.
Yeah.
So Andrew, you want to take us into the break here?
Yes,
About
I
to do
will. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back at the end of the first period for first intermission. I'll have a couple stats ready for you. National Anthem about to play, so stick around. We'll be back in just a little bit. Welcome back into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the Arctic Circle, north of the equator, west of Azerbaijan. I'm just realizing I forgot to do that pregame.
It was better off the way you did it.
Yeah, I know.
You missed it, Bundy. Andrew's Open was so much better than anything Russ has ever done. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
You'll see it later.
Yes.
So the Lightning have the lead 2-1. Nikita Kucherov obviously is nasty. We'll get to him in just a second. But Ant and I were talking pregame right before Bundy got here, and you said that the Flyers may try to do more of a defensive game. And I said, well, everyone's got to plan until they get punched in the face. What if they're down 2-0 in the first period? And they would have been down 2-0 in the first period had it not been for the hero that this city needs, the hero that this city deserves. I don't know what it is about me sitting in this chair, but the legend of Garnet Hathaway has grown even more. He finally did it, guys. He finally did it. Got his first career goal, and not only that,
first
goal of the season. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm too excited. Not only that, dropped the mitts with Carlisle. He's now 2/3 of the way to the Gordie Howe hat trick, and we still got 40 minutes to play.
That's right. No, it was an interesting period. It had a little bit of things that you expected, a little bit of the unexpected. The Hathaway goal was certainly the unexpected. The expected was Nikita Kucherov being as good a player as he is, and probably Sam Ersson. How do you not stop that second goal?
Can't go in.
Right, the second one
cannot go in.
Yeah. I mean, look, the first one we're sitting up here it wasn't his fault. Denver Barkey loses the 50-50 on the wall to Braden Point and makes a cross-ice pass. Kucherov's wide open.
Well, there's no
defensive coverage there, right? So Cam York, that's probably Cam York's mistake. He drifted a little bit. But it's at times like that, Bundy, where you say to your guys are going to make mistakes on the ice. Wouldn't it be nice if the goalie made a big save?
Yeah, that wasn't even that's a shot from the outside. The second goal that Kucherov scored.
Yeah.
You just got to get a glove on it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
There's nothing spectacular that has to happen, and you end up falling behind the 8 ball. He lets in one goal a game that hurts the team.
Yeah.
And there's no other way around it or no other way to spill it or to say it. That's just a fact.
I got to think that Kolosov is going to get an opportunity sooner rather than later. I don't know how much longer. Look, I mean, we're 40 minutes left in this game. We're not going to bury him for giving up 2 goals. What if he shuts them out the rest of the way?
He could be
right,
great.
And then we could sit here and say, oh, Sam Ersson had a pretty good game other than that first period. But I got to think that if it continues like this, that it's not long until Kolosov gets a game.
Yeah, I mean, you said the other day that, these last 40 games, the Flyers' number 2 goalie is probably going to have to play 16 or 17.
Yeah.
We can't get this from Ersson 16 or 17 times.
No, you won't make the playoffs.
They just can't afford
You
to
won't
do
make
it.
the playoffs.
So,
You can't. I think he's 1-3-2 in his last 6 games.
Yep.
Or it might be 1-2-3 or 1-3-2. Whatever it is, he's got 1 win. He beat Buffalo 5-2. But you can't have a backup playing like that. You just can't, because it's too important. I was thinking they were going to go Vladar all 4 games at home this week.
Yeah, I
we talked about that. Yeah.
I thought he was definitely going to go tonight, and this is what I said pregame, Bundy. I didn't know if they were going to go all 4 because he did play in Edmonton, right? So that would have been 5 straight, right? That might be a little bit too much, but 4 in a row, I kind of thought that they would do. And I thought that when you look, they say, okay, well, Ersson's got to play one of these 2 games against Tampa, but I thought tonight would be the night it would be Vladar because of how shorthanded the Flyers are in the lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, and guys like Konechny and Brink could be back for Monday's game. So we would sit there and say, well, when you'd rather have a near full complement of your lineup minus Jamie Drysdale, okay, maybe that's the game you play Ersson. But in this game, when you're missing 3 starters, the goalie might have to steal you the game.
I think that was kind of what the formula with Taka was trying to do tonight. We got all kinds of injuries. We got a lot of offense out of the game. I'm going to start Ersson and hope the team rises to the occasion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad period by the Flyers. I don't think they played a terrible period at all.
No.
I think they did a lot of really good things on the ice in that period. But again, they're down 2-1 because Sam let in that bad goal.
Yeah. Shots are 8-7 Flyers.
Yeah, they are. And I'll tell you, the one power play that they had, they didn't score. That's the best the power plays looked in a while.
Looked really good.
They had a lot of, they were moving the puck well. They had a lot of opportunities. Really kind of, it was quick passes. It wasn't like holding on to it on the outside. Got a lot of shots to the net. If you do that more often than not, you're gonna get 1 a game.
Yeah,
right.
They moved it around well at once from one side to the other. They did a great job of doing that, and the thought Mishkov was very active on the power play.
Yeah, he
too.
was. He was very active on that.
You got to take a look at the lines, though, because those lines did get jumbled up from what they were in warm-ups.
Yeah, well, it was weird because they started jumbling them, I thought, right after the power play was over. And I kind of thought at first, because the first group that came out after the power play, what was it? You pointed it out. It was
Tippett, Coots, and then they had
Grabenkin.
No, it was Grunstrom.
Or Grunstrom, that's what it
instead
was.
of Barkey.
Right, Grunstrom instead of Barkey. And so I thought, well, Barkey was just on the second power play unit. They're probably just playing catch-up. Then the fourth line came out. But then you pointed out right after that they changed the top line.
They did. So what they had Zegras in the middle with Mishkov and Grabenkin on the wings.
Yeah.
And then they had Couturier, Tippett. I guess, was it still Barkey at the end? They moved them off a shift at the end of the power play, as you said.
Right.
We'll keep an eye on it, but it looked like that's what they mixed up, though.
So Kucherov scored on his first shift, right?
His first shift.
So did they immediately change who was on the ice with him after that?
And then his second shift. He scored on his first two shifts. It might have been the third shift. He might have had one in there where he didn't score, but it was either the second or third shift was the second.
It's funny that was literally the very last thing we were talking about before we went to the first period was
I know.
who the Flyers going to be playing against Nikita Kucherov.
I know.
Immediately scored.
Yeah. Well, we were both wrong. I had suggested it would be the top line. You had suggested it would be the Cates line. It ended up being Couturier's line.
Yeah.
Like I said, Barkey loses the battle on the first goal. Second goal was not their fault. I mean, it was just an entry and a shot from the left circle that the goalie has to make the save.
Yeah,
that's all it was, right? So, anyway, I mean, like solid period. I mean, not you'd rather. Thank you. Girl just walked by. She's got like one of those real tall beers, in a hockey stick.
She looked at Ant and said, "You're a 10."
No, she said, "I love this show." I was able to read her lips.
Okay.
I'd love to take credit for what you said, but no, it was not.
She said Anthony's a 10. How many of those beer things did she have?
No, that would be one too many. Your 10th beer to say that. Even then,
the beer goggles.
No, she loves the show. That's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I think this is as good a time as any for stat of the night.
Yes.
My two stats have to do with probably the two biggest occurrences in that period.
Oh, so it could be something I could use in the AP story tonight?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh,
I will start. I usually start with the Flyers. I'll start with the Lightning this time,
okay.
though. So the Lightning haven't played since Tuesday. This is their first game since Tuesday. Their last game, Kucherov had 2 assists in that game. That was his 300th career multi-point game.
Wow.
Lo and behold, he just did it again in one period.
So it's 301.
301 now. So he and Stamkos are the only two players in Lightning history with 300 career multi-point games.
Okay.
And then I had a boring one for the Flyers, but thankfully Garnet Hathaway doing what he did. He's now 2/3 of the way, as I mentioned, to the Gordie Howe hat trick. The last Flyer to do that, you got to go back to February of 2024. Konechny did it against the Jets. That was a 4-1 Flyers win. So hopefully that's a good omen for tonight if Hathaway finds an assist somehow in this game. Do you guys know who the NHL's all-time leader is in Gordie Howe hat tricks?
I think it's Rick Tocchet.
It's Rick Tocchet.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. And Brendan Shanahan was second. He's at 17.
How many Gordie Howe hat tricks did Gordie Howe actually have?
I think like 2 or 3.
I think it was 2.
It was a small number. I know that.
Wait, so why do they call it that then?
He's Gordie Howe.
Yeah, it just makes like it kind of.
He was tough too. But
it was a goal scorer who was physical, who would fight. And you didn't have a lot of that back in the day.
I guess. Okay.
Right. So I guess that's why it kind of became.
I read a stat the other day that I think the fastest Gordie Howe hat trick that ever happened in a game, and I wish I could remember the player who had it. It was in like the first 5 minutes of the game.
Really?
It was the fastest Gordie Howe hat trick ever. Josh Manson the other night had a Gordie Howe hat trick in 7.5 minutes in Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple games back. So that was I think the second closest Gordie Howe ever.
Was that in the game that they were up 8-1 in the second period?
I don't know if that was. It might have been. It might have been that game. Yes, it was.
Poor Ottawa.
You guys remember that Verizon commercial from years ago, where it was like a fictional thing where like Ovechkin scored 9 goals, so it's 3 hat tricks, and they called it an Ovech trick.
Yes.
Remember that commercial?
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's done that.
No one's ever scored 9 goals in a game. I think somebody scored 6, right? Way back when in pre-expansion era.
The game points record is 10.
Yeah, but I think
Daryl Sittler, right?
I think somebody scored 6 back in like the 30s. I want to say. Probably can look that one up, Andrew, but I'm pretty sure it was like an old-timey thing. I think the record's 5 since expansion. And
remember Mark Lamb?
Yeah, I remember Mark Lamb.
Lamb. Chopper was his nickname.
Yeah.
It was my first few games in the NHL. I was a rookie, and I was in the medical room. He was sitting on the table, and he says, "Hey, did you see they're flying Sittler in tonight?" And I said, "Sittler, like Daryl Sittler?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "I'm breaking his record tonight at 10 points."
Mark Lamb, of all people.
Yeah.
Of all people. Oh, man. So Brian Knowlton says, by the way, that TK, and somebody else put it in here too, so a couple people say it, his Gordie Howe hat trick was in 4 minutes and 8 seconds.
Whose was?
TK's.
TK.
Against Winnipeg. Now, it might not have been the start of game. It might not have been the fastest to start a game.
Oh, just in that
It
time
was just, all three occurred
Okay.
in the span of 4 minutes and 8 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I will. I'll
No,
figure
this
that
one
out,
I
and
saw
then
was
I'll
to
find
start
it.
a game.
Yeah.
To start a game. I read it on Twitter or something that it was 5 minutes was the record into a game for
Right, it might have been
to
the start of game. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think connecting was to start a game. So, anyway, but yeah, really kind of. By the way, Bundy, it's not we don't usually talk a lot about what's going on around the league, but today, the Boston Bruins put up 10 goals against the Rangers. 10.
Yeah.
Pasternak had 6 assists in the game.
Yep.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
I mean, I remember
They
back.
had 2 hat tricks.
Yeah. But the last time I remember that happening here was against the Penguins, if I remember correctly, and it was R.J. Umberger and who the heck was the other guy?
What year was it?
I want to say it was 07, 08 season.
The Flyers win that game like 10-4.
They blew out the Penguins. I may have told this story before. It was Rob Parent was on. Used to be my colleague at the Delaware County Daily Times. Was temporarily back on the beat, and I was back in the office and doing some high school stuff. I got into an argument with our publisher, and threw a credit card at him, and got pulled off the beat temporarily. So Rob was on, and then they were putting me back on the beat. And the last game that Rob was doing was that game, and he put Sidney Crosby down as one of the 3 stars. And Crosby was like a -5 or some ridiculous thing.
2 assists though.
He had 2 assists. But
I got the game here. So December 11th, 2007. Does that sound right? 8-2.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing
Lupul and Umberger were the 2 hat tricks.
Who had the first goal for the Penguins? It was Ryan Whitney.
Yeah, was it really?
Not Umberger.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lupul has 2. Yeah, Lupul had 3, and then
Umberger had 3.
Also had 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
And so
Crosby 2 assists though.
yeah, Umberger didn't even get a star in that game.
That's
And
crazy.
so I show up at practice the next day, and
Crosby was a -3.
yeah, -3. And Homer walks in and he sees me and he goes, "What, did they fire Rob after he picked the stars?"
Who was it? Rob Parent?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Rob Parrott. So it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. That's but man, how the Rangers are in a bad way. Circling back to my point,
Yeah,
they're in a bad way without Shesterkin.
they are. They're really hurting without him. Was that quick in there today for all 10?
They pulled him after 6.
After 6.
Yeah.
And then so they made a point to mention on the broadcast, whoever that other goalie was that came in, I can't remember his name, his pads were shiny. Like, he had never, they had no puck marks on him. Like, that's how brand new this guy is.
Wow.
He got lit up again. I said to Ant and Jackie in pregame, Pasternak had 6 assists today.
Yeah,
Really?
craziness. So that the reason I bring this up, Bundy, is if things are that bad in New York, I mean, I got to assume with Panarin being a free agent at the end of the year that he gets moved before the deadline.
Spencer Martin was the other goalie. Thank you.
But do they move anybody else? Do the Rangers look at it and say, "All right, we're not in a good spot"?
I think what they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have to consider finding a trade partner for Panarin.
Right?
That's gonna have to start something. And
What about Fox?
yeah, I mean, the weird thing with Fox now is that both those guys that were responsible for having him on the team or helping him get on the Olympic team didn't do anything for him, right?
Right.
Sullivan and Drury as an assistant GM on that team.
Right.
So that leaves a sour taste in the player's mouth because like he said, I felt I belonged there. But I don't think anything's going to happen until Panarin goes. And I think if Panarin wants to keep making the money he's making, he's going to have to go somewhere else because the Rangers aren't paying him $11 million again.
Yeah, interesting situation there.
Is he even still worth $11 million, do you think, at this point?
He's had a decent season,
If
right?
you get him off that team and you give him someone to look for someone sniffing, he's not going to get an 8-year deal.
Right.
But he's going to get a 5-year deal somewhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think they're an interesting team that maybe a lot of people didn't think about at the beginning of the year as a potential seller at the deadline that I think is getting closer and closer to them being a seller.
How long is Shesterkin supposed to be out for? Do you know?
I don't.
They don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's just no way they go anywhere without him.
Correct.
There's just no chance.
He's their most important player.
Yeah.
Hands down. I wonder who else is I should pull up the contracts there because I wonder who else is potentially movable.
Just on the Rangers or in general?
Yeah, Rangers. Just on the Rangers. Because I think that they're a team that's going to kind of fall back a little bit. Here, I'll pull it up for you real quick.
Lafreniere, is he worth anything?
Yeah, he's signed for forever.
Miller?
No, he's signed for forever too. And nothing special on the forwards. Carson Soucy. You're looking for a mid-range defenseman.
What about Trocheck? What's his deal?
Trocheck is signed through 28-29 at 5.6 every year. So
He's not terrible for him.
no, he's also 32. So you're signing he's paid through age 35, 36, whatever. So
They got a lot of issues though.
they do.
Yeah, they do.
They absolutely.
Sabanajad's another guy.
I forgot
He's signed for forever.
I know. I don't know how you could move that unless you got to eat some salary.
Yeah, he's another guy who's signed for forever. So I don't see it.
All right,
But
45 seconds left before we start. Real fast, Bundy. What are you expecting from the Flyers in these next 20 minutes?
Keep physical on this team. I think that it worked to their advantage in that period when they got physical on the boards. Be aware of Kucherov. They've got to do a better job on him or he's going to absolutely walk out of here with 5 points tonight if they don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Players are back on the ice, so second period's about to start, and we'll be back second intermission. I'll have my trivia ready, but until then, talk to you in just a little bit. All right, welcome back into the Press Row Show, the number one rated pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the Arctic Circle, north of the equator, west of Azerbaijan. Lightning tack on another. They take a 3-1 lead as we head into the final 20 minutes of this game. I thought, and you guys can disagree, the one goal that the Lightning had just seemed like it was really bad puck luck for the Flyers. So it started with Cirelli having that slap shot on the one-timer from the circle. Sealer does a great job blocking it, and of course, after he blocks it, goes right to Dastu for Tampa Bay. Urson has to come way out of the net to challenge, makes a good save, and then the rebound just goes right to Nick Paul. He taps it in. It's just, on that particular play, at least, it just felt like the puck was bouncing right to the Lightning players. Sometimes there's really nothing you could do about it. Other than that, though, it felt like a pretty even period. Am I wrong about that?
They've won 8 in a row, so I can assure you that there's been a lot of bounces that have gone their way in the last 3 weeks. So there's
shots were dead even. It was 8-8.
Yeah, 16-15 Flyers shot advantage on the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some puck luck on that play, Andrew. I think that they got a little scrambly in their end down there. Like I think Owen Tippett was a guy that was kind of caught in no man's land there, in the middle of the ice with not much to do. Obviously, you don't want to ever just be caught watching the play. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that those kind of things, while sometimes puck luck goes your way, sometimes puck luck happens because the other team's scrambling a little bit.
That could be, too.
Right? Bundy, did you see it the same way?
Yeah, I do, and that's the way it goes. But usually I always believe a team that has good puck luck is playing the game the right way to get that puck luck. Yeah. Like they're doing the right things on the ice. Tampa Bay comes out of the zone so seamlessly, it's unbelievable how good they do. I mean, things get kind of hodgepodge a little bit. They always wind up with a stick on a puck, and somebody's breaking out of the zone with it defensively.
Yeah. By the way, our good friend Russ, is watching the game, maybe watched a minute. I would guess as he watched 1 minute of the game. Says, I for one am shocked. Shocked, I say, that Michkov, Zegras, Gurbenkin line has looked good. I think they've taken 3 shifts together.
Yeah,
and the third one was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. One shift was really good.
Well, try to tell him he's wrong.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of the lines have been tossed in the dryer tonight.
If you're watching the game, they have not had a consistent line play together tonight. They've moved guys around constantly.
So I was going to say that was probably the other than the one goal that the Lightning scored. The other big takeaway I think that we have to talk about was that there's not been a whole lot of continuity with the Flyers lines, at least that period. How long did it take for Barkey to get his first shift that period?
It did take a while. It was weird, and I don't know why. He was in the middle of the bench. He was there. It's not like he went down. I was watching to see, did he go down the tunnel? Like was maybe an equipment problem or whatever, but he was there in the middle of the bench, and I think they went through the lines like twice, Bundy, I want to say.
Yeah, before we saw him. And then he took a regular shift after that. So I don't know what the reason was. Maybe they were not happy with something he did, and he was just going to start the period on the bench. But he eventually came out and played, and played in a couple different line combinations. Like I said, they were all over the place with the lines. I'm not quite following along with what they're doing with the lines tonight.
It's hard to keep track of.
I'm a little perplexed, in all honesty, by it. Like, I get, and Bundy and I were talking about this a little bit. It seems like, Bundy, that they want to try and have 3 defensive forwards on the ice against Kucherov.
Yeah, well, with 4 minutes left, remember we took a look out there? They had Cates, they had Grundstrom, and they had, was it Couturier?
No, it was Dvorak.
Dvorak, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, that was the trio that they had on against Kucherov. But then they had shifts where, Dvorak was on another line and Cates was on another. Like, Cates had a shift with Gurbenkin. And, so I wasn't really following. The only line that's kind of sort of stayed together is the fourth line.
Yeah, the fourth
line's the only one. And they've played pretty well.
They've played well tonight. Yeah, they have. They've done some good stuff out here.
Yeah. And so the other 3 lines have been in the blender for the entirety of the second period, and it kind of started after the Flyers power play in the first.
So why do you think Tocchet's doing that? Is he just like throwing 3 guys out there? He's like, nope,
he's trying to find something that works.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously they didn't like the fact that Kucherov scored 2 goals in the first two or 3 shifts he took on the ice, right?
Okay.
So they figure out we got to play him differently. So he's tried to put defensive lines together against Kucherov when he's on the ice, But at the same time, when you do that and you mix and match, now you got to remember, you also got no Konechny in the lineup, no Brink in the lineup. So obviously the lineup is going to be different than it has been. But you started one way and then you made a change, and now it's like, all right, well, how are we going to mix these guys? One guy might have to double shift a little bit. Like it was just weird. I would think that down 2 goals going in the third period, Bundy, that he'll try to get a little bit more offensive and not worry so much about the defensive side of things, because they got
nothing to lose now.
Right?
You're down by 2.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try to get some offense while not giving up too many more goals.
Yeah.
You know, that's the fine line the Flyers are walking right now, is how do you get the offense without surrendering more goals in your own zone. So that's the issue that they're up against right now.
I got a couple questions for you, Bundy. First of all, just from a player's perspective, I assume it's a little bit different from forwards as opposed to defensemen. But like when you're a forward and your lines are being changed that much in the middle of a game, does it like throw off your chemistry at all, or your continuity or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, especially if players are supposed to be with a certain group of guys the whole game, yeah, it can kind of mix you up a little bit.
I would feel like it would be kind of annoying.
It can mess up your game, and when you mix up the lines, and you know, you come in with that stability of having those line mates. So sometimes, but that's what happens some games. You know, the Flyers have some injuries. They're just trying to find a way through this game before they head off on to play this team again Monday. And
right,
you know, the first game is always a big one to try to get in a home and home set. Now this is a true home set for the Flyers against Tampa.
So, and my follow-up question was, were you ever in a game where your coach just like kept changing who your D partner was in the middle of the game?
No.
I feel like that wouldn't happen.
No.
I guess it just doesn't happen with defensemen then?
No, if you're having a rough game as a defenseman, they might just sit you.
Yeah,
okay.
They'll reduce it to 5 guys.
They'll just go to 5 guys.
And rotate, rotate the third shift between somebody different every time.
You have to really, really crap the bed to get to that point, though.
Okay.
Because you can, coach understands mistakes happen, and it's usually if you have a lack of compete or you're not really into the game, then you just go to 5 defensemen.
Yeah. So, I mean, the major predicament here that the Flyers are in is they're going to have to figure out a way to beat Vasilevsky twice in the third period. I meant to try to find what the Lightning record is when leading after 40 minutes. I couldn't find it before we went on the air. I'm sure it's very, very good, though. It would be a 3-2, and you and I had a little bit of a disagreement on this. That last chance that Couturier had when he was right on the doorstep, or right at the end of that period, that's a grade A scoring chance.
Oh, sure
and
is.
Vasilevsky, I asked you, and Vasi didn't even get a piece of it.
No.
Cooch just missed the net, but you seem to blame Tippett on that more a little bit.
No, I didn't blame him on that particular instance. What I meant was when they came into the zone, there was a 2-on-1 forming, and Tippett, rather than playing with the partner coming down the line, I think it was Denver Barkey coming down the right wing, rather than look for that 2-on-1 play, he tried to play a little hero ball there. He tried to make some kind of like fancy between the leg pass to himself, and then really lost the offensive opportunity.
But that's where I don't think he did, because Couturier had that opportunity.
No, it was before that. It was before Couturier's opportunity.
That wasn't on the same possession?
Yes, but it was before Couturier's chance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and then they got the puck back. They forechecked and got the puck back, but it rolled off of Tippett. Tippett completely had a chance, and they didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah, he tried to put it between his legs and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was one there. Like, he's hurling across the blue line there. Shoot the puck. He's got a head of steam. He's got an ability to wind up on that shot. Doesn't have to be a slap or a quick snapshot, and then follow your shot to the net. He tried to make the perfect play.
Yeah. But, yeah, like I said, having to beat Vasilevsky twice, I don't know if the Flyers will get a better opportunity than that in the third. Maybe, I hope I'm wrong. But
we got a super chat, from Sinister83. Thanks, Sinister83. Appreciate it. I'll read it out to everybody. Love Ant, but he wrong trading, I guess he means Dvorak deadline. He wrong. Trading Dvorak at the deadline for a big package, first plus grade A prospect, was the best move. Re-signing was a rare Danny loss. Okay, let me say this first and foremost. You're not getting a 1 and a grade A prospect at the deadline for Christian Dvorak.
No, you're not.
Right. Okay, so that's number one. So what you just suggested was not going to happen. And number two, I didn't particularly think it was a great signing. I didn't think it was a bad signing. I just thought it was a signing. It was a guy that they like for the next couple years, and they feel like there's no centers out there, and that he makes their center depth better. No one's thinking of him as a number one center, even though he's kind of played it here. If you ask around the league if there were other teams that would be interested in Christian Dvorak, nobody is trading for Christian Dvorak to center their top line in the postseason.
No.
right? So he's a middle six center, and they felt like that's the kind of guy that's not readily available.
Although they did get a lot for Lot.
That was a different. Is Grabenkin a grade A prospect?
No, but he's a good prospect. He's better than Toronto thought he was.
Yeah, he's better than Toronto thought he was. That's for sure.
Plus, I mean, I know we got a ways to go, but like I don't really see the Flyers being sellers at the deadline this year.
I mean, probably not. I mean, look, they're injured right now, right? So you got to get guys healthy and get back because, as Jackie was saying pregame, there's a tough stretch of games coming up here.
Yes,
and you can't, suddenly start losing a bunch, right? So you have to maintain status quo, and split these two with Tampa, and you're okay, right? I mean, even if you lose tonight, you win Monday, you're okay. But if you start losing, you lose to Tampa, then you got the back-to-back with Buffalo and Pittsburgh are both playing well next week, right? I mean, it could snowball on you quick. So you have to keep up and maintain. And if they do, which I think they will, then they're gonna be buyers, not sellers. But I don't want you to think that they're gonna be big-time buyers.
I was gonna say they're not gonna. I don't think they're going to make a groundbreaking move. I think it's a situation where the Flyers probably like where they're at right now.
Yes,
and they're just going to leave it be.
Yeah, I think it'll be more fringy, like around the fringes of the team. Maybe look to upgrade fourth line center. Not that they dislike Rodrigo Abels, but maybe you get somebody else in that spot who could score with a little bit more regularity, gives you a little bit more center depth down the lineup. Probably wouldn't cost more than like a third or fourth round draft pick, kind of thing, right?
I think that would be the extent of it. I would assume.
Yeah. That's how I look at it.
All right.
It's ready for trivia. We got
trivia.
We got to play him in here, Bundy. Time
right,
for intern
ready?
Andrew trivia with only two instruments today instead of three.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Boom, boom,
Ching, 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 ching.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right, so Bundy, your second year in the league, I believe, was the 1996 playoffs in the first round against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes.
You and your Flyers teammates prevailed in that series in 6 games. However, you were down 2-1 in that series.
Yes, we were.
Back-to-back games, the Lightning won in overtime. And those 2 games, the Lightning used 2 different goalies. So can you name the 2 overtime goal scorers and the 2 goalies the Lightning used?
Name the 2 goal scorers, the 2 goalies they used.
Was one of the goalies?
Darren Pupa.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Was the goalie. I can't tell you the other goalie.
Is it John Graham?
No,
that was later.
That was later? Okay. By the way, and I got a trivia question for you based after we answer this one.
Okay.
Andrew. Wow.
The goal scorers.
Who was the guy that everybody hated on that team, but then he ended up playing here?
Chris Gratton?
No.
Was it a defenseman?
Oh, defenseman.
Real dirty player. Ended up playing for the Flyers after that.
Really?
Yeah. Opened a sandwich shop, if I remember, locally too.
In Philly?
In the area. I think it was out in Montgomery County. Why do I have European player too?
It's not who you're thinking of.
Okay. Igor Ulanov.
Nope.
He didn't play here though. Ulanov did not play for the Flyers.
Then that's not who I'm thinking of.
No, Igor Ulanov was the guy that was very physical. Lindros beat him up at the end of the series.
Yeah, no, that's not. That's okay.
He got the nationality right for Game 3.
Roman Hammerlick.
No.
Well, it'll be Russian, right? I forget. No.
You usually get when you play in the game. You usually remember.
It was my first couple of years.
You got a cloud?
I got a cloud today. Yeah.
I don't really know how to give a hint because I don't think either of these guys tie in with the Flyers other than this series. We got 3.5 minutes. Want me to just tell you?
Yeah, because I can't get it. Who's the other goalie first?
Jeff Reese.
Oh, Reeser.
He was 38 for 42 in that game.
Jeff Reese. He was the goalie coach for the Flyers after that.
And then Game 2 overtime winner was Brian Bellows.
Okay.
And then Game 3, he tied the game with 1.5 minutes left. And then the overtime winner was Alexander Selivanov.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so here's the trivia.
But you won the series, Bundy.
Here's the trivia question for you. I know Bundy knows the answer, but I'm going to ask you, Andrew. Do you know where in Tampa those playoff games were played?
It was called the Thunderdome.
Yeah. It still exists. sort of.
Is it Tropicana Field?
Yes.
Okay.
They actually set a record one year in our playoff game there as
Yeah.
the biggest crowd ever in attendance for an NHL game prior to the Winter Classics.
That place is such a dump.
That's one of the worst baseball stadiums in all of America.
I went there once. I'll appreciate this, actually, because my buddy Ryan, Ducks fan Ryan, is also a huge Yankees fan. So when I was living in Florida, he and I went to a couple Rays-Yankees games there. Atrocious seating. It's just so bad. They don't even sell tickets in the upper deck anymore. They don't even bother.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they make you get lower level tickets. That's the only way they make their money now.
That's a bad stadium.
It's so and for a pretty good organization too. They in recent years they win.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Remember there was the speculation a few years ago, and they were going to move to Montreal.
Yes.
The Rays.
Yes, and there was a lot of thought that was going to happen, and it didn't. The guy I was thinking of from that team was Michel Petit.
Yeah, Michel Petit.
That's who I was thinking of. That was from, and he wasn't European, but that's the guy.
He's with Hockey Day in Houston now. He's part of that expansion.
He
group.
came here.
Yeah.
And then he opened a sandwich shop out, and I want to say it was Plymouth Meeting or something out there for a little while. That's who I was thinking of to play for the Flyers.
Mike Small.
Did you play with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Small. You guys called him?
Yeah, Mike Small. Michel Petit.
Russ brought some receipts.
He brought some receipts.
Said Mitch Kovzigers Gurbankin has played the second most minutes at 5-on-5 tonight of any Flyers line.
Yeah, well, that's because no line is playing a lot together, right? This is what I'm trying to tell you. It's barely play. And if it was noticeable, you made a comment, Russell, after one freaking shift at the end of the game, because they had not done anything prior to that shift. That was you made one comment and said, they've looked great tonight. You watched 1 minute of the second period, just like you do when you sit here and you're working on your computer for 56 of the 60 minutes of the game.
He's packing still.
Right? Go back to packing your...
What's the weather like in Austria
That's right.
This time of year?
You got your passport?
All right, 30 seconds. Bundy, as always, how important in the first 5 minutes?
It's important because the Flyers are down 2 goals, so they've got to try to score 1 goal every 10 minutes, try to get this thing tied or find a way to get a win in regulation. But, I mean, you're going to have to do a good job on Tampa because they're playing well tonight.
All right, so the players are going to be back on the ice in just a second. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. Third period, hopefully the Flyers can come back and win, and then we'll be back to break down this Flyers Lightning game. Talk to you in just a little bit. See, what had happened was Garnet Hathaway tied the game at 1, and a bunch of other stuff happened. Most of it was bad.
Things were so bad, Bundy bailed early.
Bundy was we gave him 10 in the game. Bundy was feeling under the weather. So we sent him home a little bit early. Hopefully he'll be good to go for Monday.
Feel better, pal. Hopefully we get you back here Monday. Need you.
I mean, Bundy, if you're listening, you didn't miss anything. Holy mother!
Yeah. No.
First of all, we're the Press Row Show #1 rated pregame intermission. Okay. That is, I've used the terminology a couple times. That was the definition of a throw away the tape game. There was like almost no redeeming qualities to this game, other than my guy Garnet Hathaway finally scoring.
Yeah, no.
What do you even say?
Fourth line played all right. I thought the special teams were okay. I mean, that's if you were looking for anything to say was okay, that was it. Other than that, 5-on-5, they were terrible.
The one great thing was that you had your AP story written with like 18 minutes to go in the third period.
I just needed to add the saves.
That's
like the story was
your
written.
Dream.
It is always a when you're doing the story for AP, because you have to put it out on the wire like immediately, like within minutes of the game being over, right? The dream scenario is one team or the other, doesn't matter who, wins going away.
Right. Yeah.
That is the dream scenario. There's nothing worse than games that go to overtime or shootout, because then you got to sit there and you don't know which direction you're writing the story, right? Sometimes you have to write two different versions of it and go with the one and then delete the other. Like that sucks. But yeah. So
if we're being honest, you could have written this story in the first period.
Well, it was 1-1 after one, or 2-1 after one, 2-1 after one.
It wasn't a real 2-1.
No, they played an okay first period.
I guess.
Yeah, it was an okay first period.
I don't know what else to add, so I'll throw it out to the comments. If there's anything in particular that you want to complain about,
the one thing we haven't even mentioned is the goaltender.
Right, that's what I was going to say. The one obvious. I assume most of the comments here are going to be Sam Ersson. Well, let me ask you. I'll pose this question to you.
Yeah,
0 to 100% chance that is the last game we see from Sam Ersson, at least in the foreseeable future.
Well, see, you just qualified that, right?
I'm saying, like, I'm not saying he's never going to be a Flyer again, but like,
yeah. So
are we getting Kolosov next time the Flyers need to go to the backup?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah,
if Kolosov is here for when they go on the road trip, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and he gets one of those games, probably the Buffalo game. That's my guess. Is that Kolosov plays against Buffalo?
It's just
I've not been told that. That's me guessing, making an educated guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where like Tocchet really didn't have a choice. Like he had to make him just suffer through those 60 minutes because you weren't going to because you're getting Vladar Monday. I mean, as we said, we need to give Vladar his rest when he has the chance. So you weren't going to put Vladar in this game unless it was an emergency. So it was one of the, where you just have to let the goalie suffer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say if the game was closer,
it was like 5-4.
Well, no. Like if the Flyers had, like, let's say, like we're 5-3, even if it was 5-3, like that fifth goal, at that point, if it was like 5-3, maybe he does pull him, right? Maybe he pulls him at that point because you want to try and win the game, right? Or 4-2 when they scored the fourth goal. If the Flyers had 2, maybe you make the change there to try and win the game.
Okay, maybe, but even then, I don't know that I would do it.
I'm not certain that it would have happened either, but I'm just saying it wasn't a foregone conclusion that Ersson was going to take all 7 goals. Which, by the way, 4th time in his career that he's given up 7 goals.
Is it really?
Yeah, the last time was the game before Tortorella was fired when they gave up 7 in Toronto last year in March.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
That was the last time he gave up 7.
Leash.
Yeah.
Those are fun times, weren't they?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Not to like rehash old, games, but like this is the kind of game where you look back at what happened the other night with Toronto and you're like, you really wish that they got 2 points.
Yeah, there's a few of them like that.
When you look at the grander scheme of things, that was a game that they needed to get 2 points because then when these games happen, you're like, all right, well, it happens. But like now given like what Buffalo is doing now, I mean, it can. Okay, so Monday, I'm not, repeat, not, capital N-O-T, going to say the words must win. However, with that said, you have to, if you're the Flyers, have to be very, very careful because it can get away from you fast, especially when you're at home. To your point, though, you did stay, even though tonight was not a shining example of that. Flyers, one of the best, if not the best, when following a loss. So they've done a good job to this point.
13-2-5.
Of not letting it snowball out of control.
Yes.
So I'll give Tocchet and the Flyers credit for that at least. They've earned that.
Yeah.
But they got to be careful.
They were undermanned against a really good team tonight, and their goalie gave them no chance.
Also that.
Yeah, he gave them no chance. Like, look, if I had to sit there and say how many of those goals were like blatantly awful by Ersson, I'd say 2, right, of the 7. But sometimes you have to bail your team out. That's what a goalie's job is. Like, players in front of you are going to make mistakes. It happens. Vladar makes big saves when the guys make mistakes in front of him. Like, that's what a goalie has to do. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, yeah, just kind of got small in the net and they picked the corner. Oh, they're really good.
The interesting thing is, like, at the beginning of the year, like, he was actually pretty good in the shootout. So I'm surprised to see that, like, so Hagel got loose on the breakaway, scored. Gord got loose on the breakaway, scored easily.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the whole team, really, but him in particular, maybe we're just like, you know what, let's just get through this. I don't know if you saw it that way or not.
I think that he's also, fighting it himself a little bit, right? I mean, he's not had a good season. He's not had a good couple of seasons. He probably should not be the backup goalie, but you aren't an NHL goalie just because, right? Like, I mean, giving up 7 goals in a game and giving up a couple of breakaways like that when you normally are really good on breakaways, like that's fighting it a little bit in your own head as well. And guys are going to go through. It's like when guys don't score, right? And you hear the phrase, "Oh, you're squeezing the stick," right? Like, same thing. Like you're trying to do something, trying to do a little too much, and it doesn't work. And he's in between on everything now. And he, whether he's going down too soon or, whatever the case might be, he looks small in the net, and there's a lot to shoot at, and that's problematic.
The one other thing was, other than Hathaway, the other goal scorer tonight was the Flyers. The other goal scorer for the Flyers was Tippett. It turns out that's how you beat Vasilevsky. You got to throw him a changeup every now and then.
That was unbelievable. Like, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that had to be deflected. Oh no, he just fanned on it and it knuckle pucked into the net, and like Vasilevsky never saw it. So it was wild.
That is the perfect irony for this game, is that even when the Flyers do something right, it was like still kind of wrong.
Yeah,
he didn't even. He wasn't.
That's exactly right.
But it's all right. It went in.
That's right.
They got that at least.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, that's basically enough for this game. Unless there's any other players that you wanted to talk about, I don't really have anything.
No, I got nothing.
I don't remember ever seeing a team like play the same team at home 2 games in a row.
Well, they did it in the bubble, right? That happened a couple.
2021,
not the bubble. They did it in the lockout year.
They were doing like series, yeah, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, no, it's happened, but not that often. And I know that there was a discussion a few years ago about doing this more regularly.
I guess it makes sense,
right? You would think, right?
Yeah,
and especially for teams that have like the Western Conference teams who have to travel so much more than the teams up here in the Northeast do, because it's such short trips for the Northeast teams, right? I mean, Flyers are playing the Rangers and the Islanders and the Devils. You don't have to fly, or Washington. You don't have to fly to any of those teams. Meanwhile, the Vancouvers and the Seattles of the world have to fly everywhere.
And Colorado.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody's got to fly, right? So out west. So
Western Conference is way worse.
Right.
Sure.
So there was talk coming out of COVID that they might do more of these, but then it just never really materialized. Here and there, one in a blue moon. This is rare for the Flyers to host the same team 2 in a row without, like, it's happened where the other team has gone somewhere else and then come back.
Right, home and home, yeah.
No. But like, let's just say the Flyers had a couple days off. Tampa went and played the Devils. and then came back.
Okay.
Like that's happened several times.
Okay.
But not usual. It's not usual to have 2 in a row at home against the same team without the other team going anywhere.
Reason I bring that up.
Yeah.
What do you think the Lightning do tomorrow? Like, do you think they go to the Liberty Bell or something like that?
I guarantee you those guys are watching the football game tomorrow. Well, first of all, they may have a practice in the morning.
In the morning, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever time they normally practice. Like these athletes are very regimented and teams are very regimented. So whatever John Cooper's normal day after a game practice start time is, it could be like Rick Tocchet likes to make it 12 o'clock.
Okay.
For the Flyers on a day after a game. I would guess that the Lightning is something similar. They're probably going to practice. They may have to actually. There's nothing here tomorrow, so they may actually practice here.
Okay.
As opposed to
not Voorhees.
Sometimes if the ice isn't available, they would go over and practice in Voorhees. Good to see you, Friggy.
Well, you're down there. Maybe that's the strategy. We invite the Lightning to Xfinity Live to watch the Eagles game. Let's just get them hammered.
Hammered.
They're hungover. Hey, Braden Point, if you're listening to this, drinks on me tomorrow.
There you go.
So the one thing that we talked about in pregame was you and I were both in agreement. We're going to pick the Lightning tonight, and then Monday we're going to pick the Flyers. But the one caveat you said was if it was a major blowout, that might make you change your decision. Well, what do you think?
Well, I got to see who's back in the lineup. Obviously, we know Vladar is going to be in goal, but we'll have to see what is Konechny back, is Brink back.
Yeah, we know Drysdale's not. He's on IR.
He's on IR, so he won't be.
Okay. And Vladar will be in net.
So I want to see what those other guys are, but I would be inclined to pick the Flyers if they're fully healthy. But I got to see who's back.
What if it's like just Brink or just Konechny? Konechny, I would assume, is the more important
Konechny's
player.
The more important one, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one other thing before we get out of here, to end on a little bit of a high note, Russ texted us and wanted us to bring this up on Postgame. He texted us this this video.
This is a great video, by the way.
So this is the Hershey Bears Mites game. The Hershey Bears, I think, are the Capitals AHL affiliate. So these are all future Capital scumbags.
You can make it bigger. You can do the bottom right corner thing there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, look at these kids.
This is unbelievable.
So my first instinct when I was watching this, Andrew, was that they talked about this beforehand, and that they were, we're going to go out there and we're going to get, fight and whatever and have a good time. Because usually these mites on ice things are kids from the same team playing against each other.
I know, but look at this.
But this does get a little
just
violent. Look at the Hershey Bear.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Oh my God! He got leveled there.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. If you think that's staged, then
well, no, I don't. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it was crazy.
But I was saying to you, if it's real, like when their kids are that age, don't the coaches come onto the ice? I don't know. I don't know anything about youth hockey.
Like I said, unless this was staged, I'm stunned that nothing happened. But my favorite is the Hershey Bear just skating by.
I wouldn't even notice that.
Oh, watch it because it replays. He's going to be on the bottom of your screen here in just a second. You'll see as he just comes strolling in. Watch, here it comes. Oh, hold on. Oh, did you stop it?
No, it restarted.
Oh, okay. Now he'll come in the bottom of the screen. You'll see the little bear. The bear. There he comes.
I didn't even notice that the first time.
just skating by.
That's crazy.
No big deal.
All right. Well, hopefully that we can end on that, because other than that, not a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
Flyers tonight. So what about you? Have any articles tomorrow between now and Monday, or?
I'm sure I'll write something tomorrow about this disaster
on Pattison.
All right.
Yeah. Well, other than that, we'll be back here Monday night. Rematch with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hopefully we can get some revenge. Flyers need it. Flyers need 2 points, competitive playoff race. But I'm good if you are.
Yeah, I'm good.
Here.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Feel better, Bundy. Russ, have a safe trip. Maybe watch a little bit more film so you know what you're talking about. I don't know. Oh, that was the other thing that you roasted him because that his great line immediately gave up a goal at the beginning of the third.
Yes,
period.
it was like they were on the ice for that first goal of the third period. So I put a comment in saying, "Hey, Russ, who was on the line on the ice asking for a friend?"
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Rate, review, subscribe, all of that. I'm Andrew Henry, intern Andrew. Most of you know me as Anthony SanFilippo. We'll be back Monday, rematch against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We will talk to you then.